You're welcome back. You're still watching Simply Showbiz right here on TV3. Now, I mentioned earlier that our conversation today, we're talking about regaining investor confidence in showbiz. Now, joining me to have this conversation is the amazing Nana Akwesi Asap-Mensah, also known as Ajikot, sorry about that, ace music producer, and I can tell, I was actually speaking to my producer, and he was telling me the amazing work you've done over the period, so hopefully you get to tell us more about that on the show later on as well. And also thanks for joining me, Stephen AK Forcing. You are the CEO of Create Concept. Good to have you join us.
Thank you.
You're doing good? Yeah, nice one. And Sammy Flex, Sammy Flex joining me as well. He's a, showbiz analyst and CEO of Sammy Flex TV. Now, today, we're basing our conversation off of stories we've heard over the period. The recent one has to do with, one regarding Black Sharif,
Which started from here.
I don't know why you still want to do this.
I know the story.
Well, because
they've told me that it started from here based on that question you asked him, that who is funding you? That was when. And
I thought it was a genuine question.
No, it was. But the answer.
Yeah, so the answer sparked a lot of conversation. But let me start off with Ajikot. You've worked with Bookbag and, amazing people over the period. How did it start for you, as a person coming into the space? What was that thing that made you want to come into the showbiz business in the first place?
Thank you. Like any other businessman, the prime idea of going into business is to make profit.
Good.
Then you should have the passion for what you're going to do. The passion pushes you on what you want to do. Right. So I can say the real thing that pushed me into music is that I had the passion for it. And also looking at the space at that time, that time we had these young guys who wanted to come out. But by then, there was nobody. If I say nobody, there were people there, but most of their concentration was on the people who were already in the industry. Okay. So we needed somebody who would take interest in the young ones. And I think I felt that space at that time.
That space. Yeah. So over the period, what was that thing, working with some of these names over the period? What was that thing you did? Did you sign a contract with them? What were some of, the deliverables, like the things you were asking of them and what you were meant to do for them as well?
Unfortunately, during that time, the urge to help them was more prominent in me than, say, having a formal contract with them.
Okay.
Yeah, so there wasn't that strict contract.
Okay.
But I believe in their honesty. That,
right.
I mean...
Which year was this?
Yes.
Yeah, which year are we talking about?
I'm talking about 2000.
2000 thereabout.
Yes.
Wow.
2000 thereabout.
Okay. I would come to you to find out if along the lines, you did say that you believed in them and so you wanted to do this investment with them. Along the lines, I believe some challenges popped up, one or two, so we'll get into that for as the show progresses. But let me also come to you, Forcing. You also have been around for a while. Yeah. Let's talk about what an investor needs to look out for when they would want to invest in an artist.
Okay, that's a good one. As he said, my big man Ajikot here, right, said, it seems most often we are driven by passion. It's supposed to be passion and profits.
And profit.
But unfortunately, it's a passion-driven enterprise. So we are mostly driven by passion. In fact, without a passion, you wouldn't go into it anyway. But what you should look out for me, I look at the person I'm working with.
Okay.
Talent is important, but I also want to know the person, your persona. And I pick certain things up, from your conversations, the way you talk, the way you analyze things, and to know whether, because that's what he was talking about the honesty, that they were going to be honest.
Honest, yeah.
There's no meter. that can measure honesty.
Yeah.
The only way we can measure honesty is your past records and the things you say and lack.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The things you say, your past records and lack. Because even the things you say and your past records can fail you. So in place of all this, then there should be an arrangement. You know, I think at a point as a businessman, I had to reduce my passion in the people I seek to help or work with. Now I took out help from my dictionary. It's no longer help.
Okay.
It now becomes a business arrangement. Because the moment it is help, then passion now leads more than business.
Okay.
It's no longer profit making. It's more about helping you succeed. Yes, I want you to succeed, but I also want to succeed so that I can sustain my business. You get it? So passion is there, but I now look at the business aspect of what we're doing. First of all, are you viable? Are you a viable product I should invest in? Do you have the talent? Do you have
So when you say when you say viable, are there things you're looking out for in that context?
Yeah, first of all, I'm talking about talent.
Okay. Okay.
Talent is very important, and your attitude and character.
Okay.
Whether you have the capacity to even sustain success. And when you become successful, I'm not talking about how respectful you are when you are nobody, you are poor, and you are not a star yet.
Okay.
I'm looking at how is this person likely to behave after success comes.
Okay.
So I take a very deep, look at who I'm about to work with, who I'm about to take a lot of money and dump into this person. It's not as if I'm going to buy tables to go and sell. Now, if I buy the table and Kojo doesn't buy, I will now have my table. I can sell it to Ama, or I can have my table to use myself anyway. Okay. The money I'm spending on this person, I'm not going to get it back. You understand? So I look at the talent first and your attitude. Okay. Very important.
Right. Yeah. Sammy, let's talk about, these investors that we're calling for. Because at the end of the day, the conversation for more investors into the showbiz space has not been, it's not dead yet, because we're still always calling for such help. Now, when they sign contracts, what do you think is not done right where we have issues where people are breaching these contracts?
Akofa, first of all, let me say I am very honored this morning to be sitting with Ajikut. I remember, I also wanted to become a musician some years ago. Hey! Yeah, I was looking for him everywhere in Ghana.
No, we need to talk about this off air.
No, I started as a fine rapper, fine rapper.
Okay.
Unfortunately, things failed because I didn't get Ajikut then.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry if I had gotten him today. I would be one of the biggest stars in Ghana. Yes, so I'm honored. First of all, let me say that. Now, back to the question of how people breach contracts. Yeah. People are just not honest sometimes. Okay. And like Stephen Forson said, when you become successful, how is your character going to be like? I'm sure if you ask Ajikut, the young guys who came to him and how they came, you speak in da. And when they meet you, you are da, like everything for you. You tell them to lie down, they will lie down, they'll never move. Give them that money. Let them sign the contract. Let them get one hit song. The moment they get one hit song, they forget every word they read on the paper. Sometimes when issues come in our space and they ask, did they sign contract? Did they sign contract? I laugh.
Why?
Because the people who sign the contract, when they become big, they ignore it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, those who are supposed to proceed with some of these cases to the legal corridors, they start and it ends nowhere. Countless issues in our industry. If you ask, yes, they really signed contracts, but the artist just felt one day he had to go because he feels he can do it. Now he has made it. When artists make it, it is their effort. But when they fail, it's maybe their producers or their managers. That has been the story with us. So they will sign the contract. It will take someone who really respects maybe the rules and the laws of Ghana to say, no, I signed a contract. I don't have to exit. Recently, one artist came to me, and I'll keep his identity for reasons. He came to me and he said, oh, he has a contract with a label who is also an artist, but he wants to exit. The guy is not taking care of him well, blah, blah. I said, no. Because you've signed something with him, you cannot just walk. Go and sit with him. Let him know the reasons you want to exit.
Okay.
If he agrees, you can go away smoothly.
Okay.
If he doesn't, then now you can push for maybe other means to go out. He did that, and I believe that everything is smooth. But others, and this guy, it is because he's not gotten any hit song, I guess.
Oh,
If like he had a hit song, the song is banging, people are following him, telling him you are the guy, you did it, he wouldn't have gone to the
story
guy.
would have been different.
So yes, the contracts are being signed,
Okay.
but the guys are not respecting.
But
the
how
contracts.
do you think moving forward we get artists and investors and management to stick to the contract they sign? Because people are also advocating for the fact that maybe people have to be sued moving forward before they can take these contracts seriously. What do you think?
I want to believe moving forward, if you want to invest in an artist, first of all, whatever decision you take should be in support by maybe a legal person.
Okay.
So,
yes.
for instance, you have money. You are going to sign the artist. If you can, tell the artist to go hire a lawyer. You should also have your lawyer. Leave all documentations to the lawyer so that should something happens, you even leave out. Unfortunately, Akofa, we know how our legal systems grind. Very, very slow. I'm sure the tortoise might be faster than our legal system. Very, very slow. It has left so many frustrated in the middle. So they will say, we'll take you to court, we'll take you to court. The best they can do is to serve you with a writ of summon. After that one court day, he didn't come, he's here, he's there. You'll be frustrated. And it goes away. But me, I think if you are able to give it to one lawyer who is a serious litigant, he will take the artist, every milk that the artist sucks from you, he will take it from him. I believe if we can go that way, they will be scared a little bit. But until then, anytime an artist gets a hit song with a fan base, he's not scared of anyone because the fans will fight for him.
Okay, yeah.
The fans will, can you go and fight, say, Shatawale? Can you stand the people who will be coming after you?
Will come
You can't stand it.
Yeah. Now, let me come to you, Ajikut. I know you've worked with Bookbag. Can you give us other names that you've worked with? And while you're at it, also get us to the point where you did mention that you didn't sign contract with some of these, but it was more of word of mouth, you know. Has there been instances where some of these people did not adhere to, the arrangements you guys had with just by, speaking with them?
Yes, like my brother was saying, you see, when the artist is, when I say he's not recognized, so to say, he's not as big as you take him on, he has ears to listen to only one voice. But once he becomes big, a lot of voices speaks to him. And there, people will not realize that somebody who has been able to put the artist at that pedestal that he is. They knowing very well your effort, because some of them are already in the industry, knowing the effort that you are putting in, yet they will still fight to get hold of the artist. Once now they know he's very marketable, unlike the time that you took him. Yeah, so that is an issue. And then also, like I was saying, with me, some of my products, I bought them.
Okay.
Total pitches. Yes, so I have total interest in it. But even there are clauses that the so-called contract that we signed, that, you have to do 3 albums with me before you can exit. But once you make him a star, now he doesn't see what you put into him, but he sees what he has become.
Okay.
Yes, they don't really see what you've put into him. They think of what they have become. So from that time, even he doesn't see you. He sees himself or herself bigger than you, who made it. Yes. So that is the problem. And then also, most of the time, we didn't involve legal persons in this contract. So sometimes there are some clauses that you can't enforce it and all that. But if you should have given it to a legal person to draft the contract, he knows how to go about it. So once the person exits, you can enforce it, the terms. So one thing that I think now is becoming very paramount in the industry is that people are realizing that legal aspect of it. And they are involved in, during our time, I used to say, we are 1 man 1,000. You are the artist publicist. You are his
road manager,
his costume, everything you do it. And you can't be a specialist on all these things. There are people now. You can see that the industry has grown to a stage that now we have various people undertaking these roles. We have somebody who is the publicist. We have somebody who is taking over the costume, and even now companies. Even our time, no company. Even when you are going to have a program and you are looking for sponsorship, it doesn't come. But now companies are interested in the brands that has been built. So it all boils down to how you can put in the legal structures.
Okay.
Because whatever you do, if the legal structures is not that good, well, that is where because once now the person begins to hear different voices, they can even call for, what did you sign? Then you bring it. I remember very well, I had this thing with this, an artist, I won't mention the name. At a point, a legal firm called me. Okay. And you understand. But when we were signing the contract,
the legal firm wasn't there.
That is it. You understand?
Let's talk about your relationship with Bookbag, working with them over the period. What happened? How was working with them like? And then while you were parting ways, tell us about that.
Bookbag was made up of two guys, Bright and Ronnie. Bright, a very calm person. And Ronnie, who knows Ronnie? So it was working with them was a little bit difficult, but I always had Bright there who will cool down things when the other party, who was a little bit rowdy, Ronnie.
What was making the other party, difficult to, agree on things that you guys were working on?
It all boils down to the point that now he sees himself bigger than you.
Oh, okay.
You understand? Yes. Once you, it's so. Once you make the artist big, put him at a certain level, he sees himself bigger than you. You'll be surprised that one artist came to me and said, "It's not you. It is we who bring our work to a stupid man like you."
Oh no.
Yes. Yes. It's not your fault. That was exactly what he said. It's not your fault. It is we who brought our work to a stupid man like you. But he has forgotten that when he came to that stupid man, he wasn't what he is now that he's talking to that stupid man. You see, so the ego, once you build them, they see themselves bigger. That is, and then they don't see any strong legal limitations on themselves. So it gives room for this sort of, unless you have an artist who really recognizes the effort that you've put in. Sometimes you have an artist, I had a problem with, now we are very close. Because most of the time when they come, they are very young. And when you are young, you know what happens.
Youthful exuberance.
Full exuberance. But once they grow up and they come to their senses, I have an artist I had a problem with, but now he calls me daddy.
I see.
And he's one of my artists that visits me almost every time. If he hasn't heard from me for about 2 weeks, he'll call me, Daddy.
I'm sure this one you can mention his name.
Yeah, this one you can. I was actually asking, why would you mention this person's name?
I know, this is positive, so you can mention his name.
You see, my firstborn.
Okay.
Yes, I call him my firstborn.
Your firstborn.
Nana Apia Kuntihine.
Oh, okay.
He's now my firstborn.
Your firstborn.
Yes.
Okay.
But somewhere along the line, he was young. I was this thing. We had a little problem. Yeah. But he's now my firstborn.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he's my firstborn. Yes. So what has changed is maturity.
Okay.
Yes.
But before we get to the exciting part where we're all happy that he came back to you, was there anything, what was that thing that he did that ruined the relationship you guys had? Maybe someone can learn from that.
Exactly.
We had a very good relationship, like I told you. Then, another label tried to poach him. And in fact, they poached him.
They poached him.
Yes. So that was the problem.
Okay.
That was the problem.
Right. All right.
But
how did you deal with it? Because, he was on top at that time.
I was hurt at that time. I was hurt because I know the effort I put into his song. I didn't send him to studio. No. The finished work was out. It went all around. Nobody was prepared to pick it. Fortunately, my junior brother, I call him my junior brother, Bulari, brought it. We sat down, we discussed it, and I said, look, let's give it a try. And it was very successful. Once, like I said, he comes to you with 2 years, hearing one voice. Once it becomes big, the voices
become plenty.
Many voices. So I think that is what happened. And then, when you push a song, it's not easy. Maybe at that point, you'll be affected financially. Yes. But at that time, you've built the brand for the person. So there, people want to reap where they didn't sow. Yes, in this industry, it is all over.
Yes.
They want to reap where they didn't sow. So this thing, a label approached him, and then unfortunately, being young and this thing.
Can you tell us how much you invested in him?
I normally don't do that.
You don't do that.
But
did you ever consider the option of taking legal action when this happened?
in fact, initially I decided, but I was calmed down because the idea at that time in me was to help the young ones.
Okay.
Okay, so once I thought about that, I decided to help young ones. And out of Continue, because of Continue, Sonia Chiba, Drew, and the rest, even from Continue Sabon, this producer, Maurice Babyface, he became big.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I saw that even if anything at all, I've been able to achieve something. So I dropped that idea. And it would have pained me if I had done that. Because later on, like I'm saying, he's my firstborn. Yes, Continue is my firstborn now.
Right.
So if I've done that, I wouldn't know, maybe we will still have that relationship that we
or
have
not.
now.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Forsen, are you still, signing on artists and investing?
Oh yeah, we are still investing.
Tell us some of the people you've signed on lately.
Okay, so I'm currently working with Sugar Lord.
Okay.
He's a young one also coming up. Like my father rightly said, we have some of the managers or the investors who like to work with those who are already in the market. Some of us like to pick them up, from scratch and then build them up to the way we want them to be. I've worked with a couple of them. So I built a family, the Create family. Some places are where, where I had a lot of young, very talented, wanted to build them up from this live performance, kind of artists who can stand on any stage from BET to Grammys to perform. So I spent a lot,
Put them in one house.
Make sure they are all in one house. They are okay. There was a band who was being paid. Yeah. Yes, the band being paid, not to just go and play live band somewhere, but just for come and rehearse.
Rehearse with them.
And these artists will rehearse with them just to get them, up. So the dream was to build this, young base of artists who are very good musically, who can perform and hold the microphone and sing anywhere and, mesmerize anyone. And as my brother said, sometimes you have a very good intention, but then I'm despite everything, I'm also a very critical businessman. I assess things a lot. My risk assessment is very high. I despite the fact that I'm also a fan of your music and all that, once in a while I do a retrospective analysis of all what I'm doing. And when I see what can happen in the near future, I will not let it happen.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll pull the plugs fast.
Let's talk about, working with artists who along the lines felt that they don't want to work with you and so they breach contracts. How have you dealt with, instances like that?
For me, this is what happens. I pull the plugs.
Hey, force it.
Oh, yes. As I told you, I'm a very...
How do you pull the plugs?
I calculate my risk. Sometimes you can hear it from conversations. Sometimes not even from them specifically, but people around. And it goes to tell you, and I have this thing I do. I have specific conversations with people, and I make sure that conversation, I don't have it with anyone else. So when I hear it anywhere, I know where it comes from. I'm naturally a very meticulous person, very careful. I'm an engineer, a software engineer. So naturally, that's how I've been brought up. My training is to be careful. You get it? So it will be quite, how do you put it? It will be some way on my part, to ignore certain signs. The signs are mostly, as he said, he loves them. He wants to help them. Okay, but most often the signs are glaring.
Okay.
The signs are very clear on the walls, and you can see them. So when I see the signs, As a businessman, I just pull the plugs.
With you saying you pulling the plugs, won't that also be known as you breaching the contract?
Oh no, I put the plugs the way it's supposed to be pulled from the contract. Okay. Every contract has an exit clause.
Clause, yeah.
You know, so if you don't want to work with me anymore, maybe we sit down and we agree that we are no longer doing it, and then we part with. Whichever way, I'm the one who has even lost. I have spent, but you see, I have cut short my losses. So sometimes you have to cut short the losses early, not to stay in there with the anticipation that it will be good. When clearly someone has actually told you that, oh dear, you've heard it, that, oh, let us keep quiet. Once it becomes good, let us just keep quiet for this month. Once everything is fine with us, we will leave. You understand? Sometimes, as managers or as investors, we hear all these things, but then you hope that things will get better, and the bad thing will not. We play the ostrich, as I like to put it. We play the ostrich. You know the ostrich. When something fearful is coming, the ostrich will hide its head in the sand and pretend that what is coming is not coming. Yeah. But whether you think it's coming or it's not coming, the real world doesn't hide its head in the sun. It is coming.
I get that.
So I will try my best to cut short, you know.
Okay.
Whatever is left, we protect it. That's the theory or the position I always stand. Currently, I'm working with Sugar Lord. He's doing well. And the relationship is business, and it's also personal.
Right.
I keep it personal. You know, this business is mostly very personal. You get it? Because if you are not, first of all, a fan of the artist, it's difficult to invest. Shooting a video, taking about 20,000 to shoot a video, doing promotions all over the place, spending money. It's like paying school fees, which will never come back. You get it? So that's how it is for me.
Right. Well, you're still watching Simply Showbiz right here on TV3. Now, we're going for a music video. This one, it was all over the place. It was really talked about. Bookbag coming through with Gonja Barracks. Take a look. Yes, Bookbag in the background, or just gone by with Gonja Barracks. Listen, I wish you could hear the conversations that were happening in the studio when the song was playing. But I understand Aji Kochu bought the song for 370 million. 370 million. What made you make that decision? And did you make them, your money back?
Not even 5% of it.
Why? Yes. What happened?
You see, first of all, to the first question, I have worked with them. Okay, I worked with them. The album. I'm going to come Club Lofo.
Yeah, Club Lofo.
And so, like I said, when this work was going to be done, they had a lot of others from somewhere, although we had the contract, but there were still people who were interested in their network because the base has already been established. So having worked with them, I thought that, no, I have to entice them to stay with me. Yes. So I gave far above what they were expecting.
Wow.
That was 370 million, excluding even the clip at that time. Yes, with the promotion.
How much was spent on creating the clip with the helicopter? Because it was a good video.
Yes, at that time I spent almost getting to about 100 million.
Whoa.
Yes. For the clip alone.
That's serious.
So as a businessman, what do you think? What do you think happened? Like, what went wrong?
What went wrong? This clip, I invested in it. I had an idea.
Okay.
I wanted to commercialize the clip. Unfortunately, even when I had the proof of the clip was already out.
No.
Oh, yes. Yes. So that was the system at that time. There was no sanity. I've contracted you to do a job for me. I haven't even received the proof. Then the clip was all over. So my idea of investing so much in that clip became useless. Also, I had wanted to write a full story of it so that we will go into a movie with it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but because this came out and all that, so I lost that interest. Like I said, what made me was that I wanted to still be with my boys, because at that time, those that I was working with, they can tell you there wasn't a working relationship. It was a father and children, so to say, a family affair. Yes. So I had wanted to keep them. So I have to give them something that will make them happy. That is why it's a complete buy. I bought it. So I have the total
So eventually, how did your relationship with Bookbag end?
You know,
because you've been through a lot for them.
Yes, after this, there was also a problem between themselves. That is, you know, it was a group, two guys. There was a problem between themselves, so they split. You understand? And my relationship with them, or my contract with them at that time, was with two people. And now they have split between themselves. Unfortunately, there wasn't any clause in our contract that didn't give them the chance not to split. Maybe I should have specified it. Okay? So now that they have splitted, what group do you have? Who are you going to hold responsible?
The group is not a human being.
Thank you.
Do you have rights to the song?
Oh, yes, I do.
You do, okay.
But they have performance right.
They have performance right.
Right.
Okay.
But I have right to it. But you'll be surprised. It's all over on the platforms. I'm not earning. Like I said, the clip, I wasn't even given the proof. Yes. So all those people who were playing...
Did you get who leaked it? Did you get to know who leaked it? Who leaked it?
Obviously, it's from at that time, OG was the famous people. Was headed by
OG.
Yes, OG, you remember that guy. So after pressing, I got to know that it's one of his boys who recorded it, and then unfortunately he was selling it. Yes, when it come to your spot and this, and then he give it to you, and then he collects something.
Wow.
So
well, we're still having this conversation about regaining investor confidence in our showbiz space, and joining me have the conversation is the legendary Ajikote. We have Stephen Forsing also here as well, and then Sammy Flex. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, there's more. Stay with us.